but they have got seats. Do you know those seats the chairs that you buy like in Costco that have all that that's up and down your spine and on your rump?
Are we going right now?
Man, that thing has front seats with that full package massage. I'm just sitting there. If you're driving down the road and that thing's massaging you, you're just drifting on off to sleep. You know?
Well, that's why everything is auto drive now. That's what we need to do. We need to get chairs like that for the worship center. Every once in a while. How do you get people back to church after a pandemic? You give them a massage chair.
Yeah.
You know, give them some popcorn. Just let them fall right asleep.
We'll just buy a church navigator and go pick people up.
Oh, that's our new bus ministry. We just buy a fleet of brand new Lincoln Navigators.
I could drive that thing and feel like I'm Puff Daddy in that thing. I'm P. Diddy.
He's just Diddy now. Yeah,
Is he Diddy?
He keeps changing.
I sent him a note and said, just go full on, call yourself Do-Wah Diddy. Do-Wah Diddy.
Okay. If you guys stick around to the end of the podcast, we'll give you P. Diddy's personal contact information, right? Of course, if you send it to P. Diddy, it forwards it to just Diddy.
Get that number on the
Forwards it to Do-Wah Diddy.
those numbers.
Diddy Dum Diddy Do. So Diddy Dum? Diddy Do? Oh, is this actually on the podcast? Oh, my fault.
Did we get all the technical issues worked out, or are we live?
There were a lot of We're live. It's a state of mind.
Okay. All right.
Being live.
It all depends on how you define fixed and live.
Live.
So did you get any more? Did you get any extra rest this weekend since you didn't have to preach, or were you still just
no,
writing
I was
the whole time?
just burning up on other stuff. I preach at a Bible conference this Friday. I'm going to get up early, like 4:30, and leave here. It's in Lebanon.
You're going to drive
Tennessee.
to
Yeah,
the Middle
I'm
East?
gonna dive
Oh,
up.
Lebanon, Tennessee.
Lebanon,
Okay.
Tennessee.
Got it.
And I'm going to, I preach there at 9 o'clock in the morning. And listen, it is amazing. That church is packed at 9 o'clock on a Friday morning in March. It's packed
In
out.
the pandemic. I love it. I'll take it.
And then I come back and I preach Friday night. So I'm going to spend that night. I'm going to get up early to try to beat it back here so I can be a part of some of the stuff that's going on with Mission Week.
What's that?
And then Sunday, I preach here Sunday. Sunday night, I preach at Arlington Baptist Church with Brad Witt in Augusta, Georgia.
Oh, that sounds fun.
So
I need to drive with you to one of these things one time.
yeah, you
I'll make you let me road trip it with you. What's the on the road to Lebanon?
on the road to Lebanon.
Weren't there those old movies? Were
Oh,
those
I
the
loved them. Bob Hope and
yeah.
Bing Crosby on the road to
Whatever.
Bali, on the road to Singapore. I don't know.
That
and
was-
Dorothy Lamour was in all of them.
That was one of my favorite Bob Hope jokes. He was like, "It's the night of the Oscars," or it's as affectionately known in our house, Passover.
Yeah,
because he
that's
never won an Oscar he made thousands of movies or
Oh,
whatever.
He's so good. I love that.
God rest his soul.
If you ever want to see a really good Bob Hope movie, black and white, it's called The Ghost Breakers.
Okay.
It's where they got Ghostbusters from.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the Ghost Breakers. Ghost Breakers. They go down to Cuba to this haunted house, and there's zombies and all. It's really a great movie.
Okay, that sounds like a modern video game, Ghost Breakers, doesn't it? Well, that's you and me. We'll do that for the pod when
We
we
ought to
just be
do
you
that.
and me watch it and just do the Mystery Science Theater 3000. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about? We just
yeah.
make fun of it the whole time, or just enjoy it. We don't need to make fun.
Those
That's
three
too
little
cynical.
heads down there that are always talking to each other.
Yeah, we'll just be talking to one another through. Are you a movie talker? When you watch a movie, do you,
No, not usually.
you just want to sit through it? Okay, I would probably annoy you then because I talk the whole time. Brody and I went to see a movie. I almost chased him out of the theater. I was talking the whole time. Of course, it was Tenet, and you couldn't understand what the people were saying anyway. So,
What's
did
Tenet?
you see that?
No.
It's the Chris Nolan movie, the most recent one. It's really difficult to describe, mainly because you don't know what's going on, because you can't understand what the people are saying.
Oh, my word. No, I like movies and music where I can understand the words.
That's preferable, yeah.
So, well, Brandon did a great job
He
yesterday.
really did do a great job yesterday.
Out of Luke chapter 14, beginning in verse 25. It's a good sermon. Good message, good kickoff to Missions Week,
ONEmission.
Mission,
ONEmission. It's happening all week.
Missions Conference, whatever we call it.
Before we get, well, you can call it whatever you want. People,
Yeah.
I hope people know
The
what
week
you
of
mean.
missions.
The week of well, before we
Emphasis.
dig into the message, we should tell people about the main events that are happening during the week. They're all virtual events. Wednesday night being the exception because we'll have a normal
Yeah,
midweek gathering.
And you can get it on your Valleydale app right there. There's there are all of our partners right there. There's the whole schedule right there for the whole week.
Yep, first one's at noon today. We're all going to try to tune in. We'll be talking with one of our partners.
Talking to Nathan in London.
That's right.
Yeah. Who's
That's right.
planning a church up, I think they call it Turkey Street, because that's the whole area is full of folks that have immigrated from Turkey.
Oh, okay. I thought
Yeah.
that was just the name of the street.
Yeah. No,
But it's like
well,
that-
it is the name of the street, but I guess, but the whole area is that.
That's really interesting. Okay, so
Up
we'll
North
talk with him.
London.
Talk with him at noon.
Yeah.
And there's one at 3. There's
Larry
one at
Creamer
7.
at 3:00. That's dealing with the Builders for Christ that are going to Wisconsin, Appleton, Wisconsin, to help build a church. They do a fabulous job.
They
of
really
that,
are.
The Builders with Christ. And then 7:00 tonight, Tim Milner, they're just blowing and going up in Huntsville. So that's today.
And then there's calls every day.
Every
People-
day.
people
You have to
can
get on the
tune in.
app. That's such a simple thing to do. Just download the app and you got all that you need right there.
The icon is black and white now. So if you feel like you lost it, it's there.
Yeah.
It just changed color. We've modernized the app even more, continuing to do more work behind the scenes. Make sure that the app is ready to go for you. So that's happening this week, midweek, normal time, 6:30. And then you're preaching next Sunday.
I am.
But we got to talk about. Wait, have you already decided what you're preaching this Sunday?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, I'm excited about that.
I'm going to be in Colossians chapter 4.
Oh yeah, good chapter. Pray also for us that the Spirit may open a door. Is that where you're going?
That's what I'm doing right there.
that.
Beginning in verse 2, devote yourselves to prayer, keeping alert. In it with an attitude of thanksgiving, praying the same for us as well, that God will open to us a door for the word so that we may speak forth the mystery of Christ, which I have also been imprisoned, that I may make it clear in the way I ought to speak. And then that's one thought right there. That's Paul's. That's the first thought. Then he comes in verse 5 with a second thought. In verse 6 with a third. So we'll look at that.
You already answered one of my questions from Brandon's message by just even reading that verse, devoting yourself to prayer, because I think, like, obviously we're in a very affluent culture. We're in a Western culture.
Yeah.
We're in a culture of religious freedom. So when we hear a message like Brandon preached so well yesterday, the cost of discipleship, talking about going through suffering, talking about martyrdom, talking about that your love of Christ must be so elevated that any other love looks like hate. Well, it's sometimes it's difficult to know exactly what to do with that because our context is so different. So how can we respond?
Well, that is a verse that is debated a fair amount. And a lot of people trying to get at what Jesus is saying there, if anyone comes to me and does not hate his own father and mother, well, is Jesus saying you've got to hate your parents in order to be saved? Well, no. I mean, it's clear, as Brandon pointed out yesterday, the Ten Commandments tell us we're to honor our father and mother. That carries all the way out through the New Testament. In fact, in Mark, Jesus looks at the Pharisees and he says, you tithe on mint and dill and cumin. Those were seeds. He says you tithe those. If they got a thing of seeds to plant, they would count the blooming seeds out and would tithe so much of the seed. But he said, and you neglect your parents. You neglect your taking care of your parents. He does say, you should do that. You should tithe. But you should also take care of your parents as well. So when Jesus comes to this, I look at it as Jesus saying this, that in loving me, it will enhance the way you love those people in your life, your parents, your wife, your children. the more you love me, the more your love for them is enhanced, it grows, it flourishes.
That's definitely been true in my life.
Yes,
I've seen
it's
that.
true in my life as well.
Learning to love my wife, learning to love my children, all of that has been more because of
The
learning to
deeper
love the
I
Lord.
walk with Christ,
Yes.
the deeper my love, not only for Christ grows, but the deeper my love for my family grows, and for my brothers and sisters in Christ.
So he took the message from there and pushed it into the next phrase, where it is talking about bearing. Whoever does not bear his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple.
Yeah.
That was like the crux of the message. That's like
Yeah.
that's probably the hardest thing to understand. And I think, well, and I just know that I pray for faithfulness all the time. What do I desire? There's nothing I desire more than at the end of my life to hear, "Well done, my good and faithful
Sure.
servant."
Yeah.
That's I was just left with that
Yeah.
sort of air of contemplation afterwards.
I thought he did a really fine job, and this was a good point. It taught me something here. Verse 28, when he says, if you want to build a tower, who's not going to first sit down and calculate the cost? He does that, and then he comes back, or he says, or what king, when he sets out to meet another king in battle, will not sit down and consider whether he is strong enough? The point that that Brandon made yesterday that I thought was really insightful was that Jesus doesn't just stack one story on top of another just to be. They have their own nuance.
Yes.
There is a nuance to this, and then there's a nuance to this one. I thought that was really insightful. I thought he did a great job with the text. I appreciated it. Thankful for it. The testimonies yesterday were good.
Yeah, they really were. It was great having Lucius and Blair back.
There's something about
Lance
having a
comes as
live testimony that really is kind of neat.
Well, and we joked about it, but it's true. When Brandon introduced Lucius and Blair, he said, "I lived with this guy for 2 years when we were both single, and I can attest that this is just a normal dude." Mm-hmm. And of course, everyone laughs because that's not usually a flattering way to introduce someone. But it's helpful in this context because we have to remember that missionaries are not the super Christians.
Yeah.
Their call is perhaps more unique, but God calls normal people to do His
Hey,
work.
you just said that, reminded me. I wrote down, I looked at a piece of research by Cedric Johnson and David Penner, and they looked at 55 North American mission agencies.
Okay.
55. And they interviewed hundreds of missionaries. Let me just give you the top 7 struggles, pressures is what they call it. The top 7
Okay, we'll
pressures that
close
they
with
have.
this.
Relationships with other missionaries.
That's a tough one.
Listen, what about the pressure on a church staff? The interpersonal
Yeah.
relationship. It is so hard, isn't it? Isn't it, Kirkwood?
It's it is extremely difficult.
We have an unusual church staff for which we should be giving thanks for.
Amen.
Because we don't have those interpersonal struggles. But that's their number one thing,
That is
interpersonal
difficult.
relationship. Number 2, cultural adjustments, adjusting to the
That is a
culture.
big
Number
one.
3, managing general stress. Number 4, rearing children. That everybody's got that stress,
Yeah.
or grandchildren. Number 5, marriage difficulties, because every marriage you struggle. Number 6, financial pressures. Number 7, loneliness. I thought that was interesting. That we don't think of missionaries, you said that, we don't think of missionaries as being ordinary people, but they struggle with what we struggle with.
The exact same things.
Maybe a little more in this area, a little more in that area, but they're average people. God doesn't have anybody but average people to call. Sinners. In fact, that's who He calls. He calls redeemed sinners. And He puts them on mission.
Well, and why does He do that? Because like Brandon said, God knows exactly He's going to get His work done.
Yeah.
He's more interested in our heart
Yeah.
along the way.
Yeah.
So
That was that opening illustration was phenomenal. I know you videoed that.
Yeah,
Brody.
Brody took care of that one.
That was an incredible job. We should give you a Golden Globe for that. Didn't they give those things away?
They
last
give
night?
those things out like candy.
Yeah, they do. That's Hollywood, patting Hollywood
Nobody
on the
wants
back.
that.
We ought to give you one. That was a phenomenal illustration. The girl that drew it,
Yeah.
and your editing of the thing. Who can get that out of their mind?
Yeah, that was
Really
helpful.
strong.
That was helpful. Are we going to make that available, or is that just part of the?
We need to put that on the website.
Okay. We'll
Yeah.
put it on the YouTubes.
Now, all of y'all have got to go off. We're investigating a very possible big ministry move.
Yeah, that's right. We got to get out of here.
And so all the staff are headed out.
Yeah.
So y'all have a good week. God bless you.
Yeah, we'll see.
Be a part of all the mission week.
Get your heart worked on. We're going on a field trip. We'll see you later.
We're going to the movies.
We're
gonna watch some Bob Hope. We need a Pastor Mac holiday. Every now and then, I just go in and do a Pastor Mac holiday and take everybody to the movie and out. Get a pizza.
I think somebody in this room could make that happen.
I really like that.
Is it me? Because I'm